Good morning, guys, and happy Sunday. Hopefully you've heard by now that the church is starting to reopen with some restrictions, masks, and social distancing. But we are not starting the children's programs just yet. We're going to wait till sometime in July. We're still waiting on restrictions and some other guidelines so that we can come together safely and enjoy our time together. So you can keep watching here on YouTube, or you're certainly welcome to come to our services at the regularly scheduled times. Today, we're going to talk about a parable that Jesus told. But first, I want to ask you a question. Do you guys have assigned seats at the dinner table? Now, maybe you don't call them that, but you always sit in the same place, your parents always sit in the same place, your siblings always sit in the same place. And so everybody has an assigned seat at the table. In this parable, Jesus is talking about those kind of assigned seats, but you see, in Jesus' time, they assigned seats differently. They assigned seats based on how important or how rich or how famous the person who was visiting was. So at a large event like a wedding or a banquet, people who were rich or important would sit close to the front, or up by the head of the table near the guests of honor. People who were not as wealthy or maybe less well known would sit farther away towards the foot of the table. And Jesus was at one of these such banquets, and he had been seated, and he saw his disciples and other people, moving up and trying to sit close to the head of the table. And he told them this parable, and it's recorded in the book of Luke, chapter 14, verses 8 and 9. When you are invited to a wedding feast, don't sit in the seat of honor. What if someone who is more distinguished than you has also been invited? The host will say, "Give this person your seat." Then you will be embarrassed, and you will have to take whatever seat is left at the foot of the table. So Jesus was telling his disciples, don't try to sit in the seat of honor. What he was teaching them was that we shouldn't think too much of ourselves. We shouldn't put ourselves first. We shouldn't think that we are more important than other people. This was something that Jesus taught over and over in his ministry, that we should put other people ahead of ourselves. And Jesus wanted his disciples to see, in a way that they had probably seen before, what could happen if you thought you were more important than other people. Jesus said, what would happen if somebody who was more distinguished, maybe a famous rabbi, showed up, or the town leader showed up? Well, that person gets a seat at the head of the table. If there aren't any seats at the head of the table, they're going to take someone who's near the head of the table and tell them to move to the other end of the table. Well, by then, all the other seats are taken up, and you end up sitting all the way down at the end, where the people who were invited just because maybe they're from the neighborhood are sitting. So, Jesus says that would be a dishonor. You would be embarrassed by that if you were asked, oh, you have to give up your seat. Go find another seat, but there's no good seats left. So he says, it's better if you think of yourself as not as important as other people, and you say, you know what, I can take a lowly seat and sit near the foot of the table. Jesus says, well, if you do that, and the person who invited everybody to the party sees that and says, wait a minute, they should be sitting closer. I want them to sit closer. I invited this person. They may ask you to move up, and that would be an honor. See, in Jesus' kingdom, we don't put ourselves first. We don't think of ourselves first. We think of God, and we think of others. And in that way, we show Jesus' love. That's how we follow after God. This is how we live for God. And Jesus teaches this, and he makes this habit of putting others ahead of himself and letting those around us recognize us for what God's doing in our lives. So I encourage you, don't think too much of yourself. Now, you are important. God loves you. I love you. Your parents love you. You are an important and valuable person. But maybe don't get all high and mighty and think you are more important than other people. Because if the time comes where maybe there's somebody who should get a more honorable seat, you'll look kind of silly because you'll be the one getting sent to the end of the table. When we look around and we say, oh, I'm the best at this, or I'm the most important person, and then somebody else walks into the room, or somebody else who's better at us than something walks in, we look silly because we thought we were better. So I encourage you, be honest, tell yourself the truth and say, I'm an important person, I am loved by God. But that doesn't make me more important than someone else. We love you guys. Have a great afternoon. Hopefully we'll see you soon.